The icy wind cut through Eldon's thick coat as he trudged across the frozen plains. Snow and ice stretched endlessly in every direction, broken only by jagged cliffs and frozen crevices. The old ranger's boots crunched on the brittle surface, each step echoing softly in the cold, empty landscape. He had patrolled these plains for decades, learning to read the wind, the snow, and the subtle signs of life that survived here. Yet, despite all his experience, he had never seen anything like what awaited him that day. Eldon spotted something glinting beneath a ridge of ice. He paused, squinting against the blinding reflection of the sun on the snow. It was not a rock or a piece of metal, it shimmered with colors he could not identify. Curious and cautious, he made his way toward it, the crunch of snow loud in the silent air. As he neared, he realized it was a creature, frozen solid, its body half buried in ice. The creature was unlike any Eldon had ever seen. Its form was dragon-like, with long, sinewy limbs, a sleek tail, and wings folded awkwardly against its body. Its scales reflected the light in hues of deep blue and violet, giving it an otherworldly glow even in its frozen state. Eldon could see its eyes, closed and lifeless for now, glowing faintly beneath the ice. He crouched carefully, feeling a mixture of fear and awe. He knelt beside the creature, examining it. The ice around its chest pulsed faintly, almost as if the creature still had life trapped inside. Eldon's trained eyes noticed subtle signs of energy, tiny sparks of light under the frost, a rhythm in the pulse that hinted at a heartbeat. It was alive, somehow, trapped in ice for an unknown time. Eldon hesitated. He had faced dangerous predators, alien beasts, and even hostile raiders in his long years as a ranger, but he had never encountered something like this. The instinct to step back battled with the curiosity and compassion that had kept him alive in the harshest conditions. Finally, he made a decision. "Hang on, friend," he whispered softly, his voice barely audible over the wind. "I'll get you out." He set to work carefully, pulling a small heat device from his pack. The device emitted controlled warmth, designed to thaw ice without damaging what lay beneath. He directed the heat toward the creature's body, slowly melting the thick ice. Tiny cracks appeared in the frozen shell, and the creature twitched slightly. Eldon stepped back, heart racing. He had expected resistance, but the alien dragon made no sudden moves, only faint shivers as warmth seeped into its body. Hours passed. Eldon worked tirelessly, chipping away ice and monitoring the creature's condition. His fingers grew numb, his back ached, but he could not stop. The closer the ice came off, the more he saw. The creature's wings, though folded, were immense, with membranes that shimmered faintly in colors he could not name. Its head was elegant, with small ridges along the jawline and glowing patterns on its forehead. Every detail was strange and beautiful, a reminder that the galaxy was full of wonders far beyond human understanding. Finally, with a last careful slice of heat, the creature was free of the ice. It lay on the snow, its body trembling, wings fluttering slightly. Eldon kept his distance, wary of sudden movement, but also captivated by the sight. The alien dragon's eyes opened slowly, revealing deep, intelligent orbs that glowed faintly. It regarded Eldon carefully, with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Eldon held his breath. The creature emitted a low, resonant hum, a sound that vibrated through the frozen plains. It was not a growl, not a threat, more like a greeting, a recognition that someone had helped it. Eldon nodded slowly. "It's okay," he said gently. "You're safe now. I won't hurt you." The dragon shifted slightly, wings unfurling a little, showing the extent of their span. Eldon could see that, despite its frozen state, the creature was strong. Its body was lean and muscular, built for flying and surviving harsh climates. But it was also weary, exhausted from whatever had trapped it in the ice. Eldon realized that bringing it back to full strength would be a challenge, but one he was willing to take. He draped a thermal blanket around the creature's body, careful not to damage its delicate scales. He offered water from his pack, watching as the dragon lapped it cautiously, tongue brushing his fingers. The connection was fragile, but it existed. The creature, though alien and powerful, trusted him enough to accept help. Eldon knew this moment would change his life. He had spent decades patrolling alone, surviving by relying on skill, instinct, and caution. Now, an extraordinary being lay before him, alive because of his choice to act. There was a bond forming, fragile but undeniable, between human and alien dragon. As night fell over the icy plains, Eldon made a small shelter near the creature, building a fire to keep it warm. The alien dragon rested nearby, wings tucked but eyes alert, glowing softly in the firelight. Eldon sat beside it, weary but exhilarated. He had rescued something extraordinary, and he knew that whatever happened next would change everything he had ever known. He looked up at the stars shining in the clear sky, thinking of the adventures that might await them. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of wonders, and now he would face it not alone, but with a creature beyond imagination. The frozen discovery had become the beginning of a new life, for both the old ranger and the alien dragon. Eldon sat beside the small fire, watching the alien dragon carefully. The creature was still trembling from its ordeal, its scales slowly regaining color as warmth spread through its body. Eldon knew he had to be patient. He had rescued it from the ice, but the dragon was weak, frightened, and untested. Any sudden move could cause it to panic, and he could not risk injury, for either of them. He reached for a small container from his pack, filled with a nutrient gel he had carried for long expeditions. It was not much, but it was enough to give the creature energy. Eldon placed it near the dragon, careful not to touch it directly. The dragon sniffed cautiously, its glowing eyes studying him intently. It let out a soft hum, almost like a question, and then, with slow movements, began to lap the gel. Eldon exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. Time passed slowly. Eldon kept the fire steady, adjusting logs to provide consistent warmth. He spoke quietly, telling the dragon simple words, his tone calm and soothing. "You're safe now," he said. "I won't hurt you. You can rest." The alien responded with low hums, flicks of its tail, and subtle nods of its head. It was learning to trust him, but the fear in its eyes was still present. As the hours passed, the dragon began to move more confidently. It stretched its wings carefully, testing the muscles that had stiffened in ice for so long. Eldon observed closely, making sure it did not overexert itself. The creature's movements were elegant and precise, a reminder of the power hidden beneath its fragile appearance. Eldon marveled at its design. Every limb, scale, and wing seemed perfectly built for survival in harsh environments. Eldon realized that this dragon was not just an animal, it was intelligent. Its eyes followed his every move, watching with curiosity and recognition. When he extended a hand toward it, the dragon did not flinch but lowered its head slightly, a cautious acknowledgement. Eldon smiled, sensing that a bond was forming. He had rescued it from ice, but now he would have to teach it trust. The night deepened, and the temperature dropped. Eldon gathered additional firewood, creating a protective circle of warmth around the creature. He draped a thermal blanket over its back, careful not to restrict its wings. The dragon shifted slightly, leaning into the heat, and emitted a soft, vibrating hum. Eldon interpreted it as gratitude. He was not sure if the creature understood his words, but it clearly understood care and protection. The next morning, Eldon began a more active routine to help the dragon regain strength. He led it to a shallow stream nearby, showing it how to drink and wash off frost. The dragon hesitated at first, its glowing eyes wide with uncertainty. Eldon stayed close, speaking softly, guiding it with gestures and calm movements. Slowly, the dragon drank, its tongue brushing Eldon's fingers lightly. The contact sent a small thrill through him. This trust was fragile, but it was real. Over the next several days, Eldon fed the dragon and monitored its progress. He experimented with gestures and simple commands, noticing that the creature began to respond. A flick of its tail, a nod of its head, or a change in hum indicated understanding. Eldon realized that it could communicate, not with words, but with intent and sound. Each small connection brought them closer, bridging the gap between species. One morning, the dragon attempted to flap its wings. The motion was awkward at first, but it gradually gained rhythm. Eldon encouraged it, standing nearby and clapping softly. The dragon leapt a short distance, wings extended, landing gracefully on the snow. Eldon laughed quietly, feeling a rush of pride. This was more than survival, it was awakening. The alien dragon also displayed strange abilities. Its scales glowed faintly in rhythm with its pulse, and Eldon noticed small sparks of energy flowing along its limbs. It seemed to sense changes in the environment, a shift in wind, the tremor of snow, and even Eldon's own heartbeat. Eldon watched in fascination, realizing that the creature was more than a companion. It could be an ally with senses far beyond human capacity. As the dragon grew stronger, it began to explore the area around Eldon's shelter. It moved with curiosity, sniffing, flapping, and testing the terrain. Eldon allowed it freedom, staying close enough to protect it but far enough to give it independence. Slowly, he saw glimpses of personality emerge, caution mixed with curiosity, intelligence with instinct, and a quiet loyalty forming toward him. One evening, as the stars reflected off the icy plains, Eldon sat beside the dragon, resting. The creature curled slightly against his side, wings partially folded, glowing softly in the moonlight. Eldon stroked a ridge along its back, feeling warmth and energy beneath his hand. For the first time in years, he felt that sense of connection he had thought was lost forever. Eldon realized then that rescuing the dragon had done more than save a life, it had changed his own. His days of solitude and patrol now had purpose. This alien being was not just a companion, it was a teacher, a friend, and a bridge to understanding the galaxy in ways he had never imagined. The dragon lifted its head, glowing eyes meeting Eldon's. He nodded, understanding passing silently between them. Trust had been earned. A bond had formed. And as they both gazed at the stars above, Eldon knew their journey had only just begun. The frozen discovery was now fully awakened, and the future held possibilities beyond his wildest dreams. Eldon woke to the soft glow of dawn reflecting on the icy plains. The alien dragon lay nearby, partially coiled, its scales shimmering faintly as it stirred. Today felt different. The creature had grown stronger in recent days, but more importantly, a bond had begun to form between them. Eldon knew that trust could not be forced, it had to be earned. And today, he intended to teach the dragon to trust him fully. He stepped carefully toward the creature, speaking softly. "Morning," he said. "We have a lot to do today." The dragon lifted its head, ears flicking at his voice, glowing eyes studying him. Eldon smiled faintly. The creature understood that he meant no harm, but there was still hesitation, a cautious distance between them. Eldon prepared a small area near the shelter for training. He set out a few objects, small rocks, logs, and a shallow pool of water. "We'll start slowly," he explained. "I want you to understand me, and I want to understand you." The dragon tilted its head, humming softly. Eldon recognized it as attention, a willingness to learn. He began with simple exercises. He demonstrated moving a log, tapping it gently, and gesturing toward the dragon to do the same. At first, the creature froze, unsure what was expected. Eldon remained calm, kneeling and speaking softly. "It's okay. There's no rush. Try it if you want." The dragon cautiously extended a claw, nudging the log slightly. Eldon nodded, praising it gently. "Good. That's it. You're learning." Over the next several hours, Eldon guided the dragon through various tasks. They practiced moving objects, responding to simple gestures, and following him across uneven ice and snow. Each success was met with quiet encouragement, and each hesitation was met with patience. Slowly, the alien began to understand that Eldon was not a threat. During a break, Eldon noticed the dragon watching the sky. Its wings twitched as if sensing the wind and stars. Eldon realized that the creature had abilities far beyond his own, senses that could detect subtle changes in the environment. "You're incredible," he whispered. "But you'll need to trust me if we're going to survive together." The dragon gave a soft hum, a sound that Eldon felt in his chest. He took it as agreement. That evening, Eldon decided to test the dragon's trust further. He led it to a narrow ice bridge over a frozen chasm, a place that would challenge any creature. "Walk with me," he said calmly. "I'll be right here. Don't rush. I won't let you fall." The dragon paused, glowing eyes fixed on the gap below. Its tail flicked nervously, but it stepped forward, one careful paw at a time. Eldon moved alongside it, steadying the creature with soft words. Step by step, they crossed the bridge. When they reached the other side, Eldon let out a quiet laugh. "See? You can do it. You can trust me." The dragon circled him once, humming softly, wings flicking with excitement. Eldon felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Trust had been earned, and now they could face challenges together. Over the next days, Eldon continued teaching the dragon. He showed it how to hunt small creatures in the icy plains, how to move silently across the snow, and how to sense danger before it arrived. The dragon learned quickly, using its natural abilities and intelligence to master each lesson. Eldon was amazed at how adaptable and clever it was. The alien dragon also began to show affection in small ways. It nudged Eldon gently when he prepared meals, brushed against him while he rested, and even purred softly when he spoke soothing words. Eldon realized that this connection was mutual. The creature trusted him, and he trusted it in return. One night, Eldon looked at the stars while the dragon curled beside him, wings folded, eyes half closed in contentment. "We've come a long way," he said quietly. "You've learned to trust me, and I've learned to trust you. Together, we can survive anything." The dragon hummed in agreement, the sound resonating through the frozen plains like a gentle vibration. Eldon reflected on his past. For decades, he had relied only on himself, avoiding attachments because loss was too painful. But now, he understood that trust and connection could bring strength, not weakness. The alien dragon had shown him that companionship could change a life, bringing hope, courage, and purpose. The next morning, Eldon and the dragon trained again, exploring the surrounding terrain. The creature's abilities amazed him. It could sense tremors under the ice, detect hidden crevices, and even predict sudden windstorms. Eldon realized that together, they were more than the sum of their parts. Human skill combined with alien senses created a team capable of surviving the harshest environments. By the end of the week, the dragon moved confidently, hunting small prey, responding to Eldon's gestures, and even initiating interaction on its own. Trust had grown into a bond that neither could ignore. Eldon felt a sense of purpose he had not known in years, and the dragon seemed to recognize that it was no longer alone. As the sun set over the icy horizon, Eldon and the alien dragon sat side by side, wings folded, tails touching lightly in quiet camaraderie. They had learned much from each other: patience, respect, communication, and the power of trust. The old ranger realized that rescuing the dragon had been only the beginning. The lessons of trust would carry them into adventures neither had ever imagined. Eldon reached out a hand, letting the dragon nuzzle it gently. "We'll face the galaxy together," he whispered. "No matter what comes next, we've got each other." The dragon hummed, a soft, vibrant sound that spoke of understanding, loyalty, and companionship. For the first time in years, Eldon felt a spark of excitement about the future. The alien dragon was awake, strong, and learning to trust him completely. And he knew, deep in his heart, that their journey had only just begun. The icy plains were unusually quiet that morning. Eldon and the dragon had grown used to the wind, the snow, and the subtle tremors of the frozen landscape, but today there was something different, a sense of tension in the air. Eldon squinted against the pale sunlight, scanning the horizon. He had taught the dragon to read the signs of nature, but even its glowing eyes seemed alert, almost uneasy. "We need to be careful," Eldon whispered, kneeling beside the dragon. Its head lowered, ears flicking at every sound. Eldon had learned to understand its signals: a flick of the tail, a slight hum, a tense stance. Something was approaching, and it was not friendly. They moved cautiously across the ice, Eldon leading the way while the dragon followed, wings partially unfurled to balance itself. The snow crunched beneath their feet, but Eldon was careful to step lightly, minimizing noise. The dragon's senses were sharper than his own. It paused frequently, sniffing the air, detecting faint vibrations, and pointing its glowing eyes toward distant movements. Eldon spotted them next, a small group of alien hunters, heavily armed, moving across the plains with purpose. They carried devices designed to track rare creatures, and their eyes were fixed on the dragon. Eldon's chest tightened. He had anticipated dangers in this region, but he had hoped their bond and skill would keep them safe. Now, survival depended on speed, strategy, and trust. "Stay close," Eldon murmured. "We can outsmart them. You trust me, right?" The dragon responded with a low hum, brushing its head against his shoulder. Eldon felt a surge of reassurance. They were a team now, and they had learned to trust each other. Using the dragon's abilities, Eldon gauged the safest route. The creature could sense subtle vibrations under the ice and detect distant movement, giving them an edge. They moved silently, skirting crevices and ice ridges to avoid detection. When the hunters got closer, the dragon let out a warning hum, barely audible but precise. Eldon nodded, adjusting their path immediately. The hunters spotted a shadow on the ice and shouted, raising their tracking devices. Eldon and the dragon froze, blending with the pale surroundings. The dragon's wings twitched, ready to launch if necessary. Eldon whispered instructions, guiding the dragon to move silently toward a narrow ice canyon. The hunters approached, unaware that they were being outmaneuvered. Once in the canyon, Eldon and the dragon paused. The narrow walls of ice offered protection, but movement was tricky. Eldon examined the terrain, then gestured to the dragon. It understood immediately, positioning itself near the entrance to act as a lookout. Eldon crept forward, placing small reflective shards of ice to distract and mislead the hunters. Each careful step moved them farther from danger. The alien hunters were persistent. They advanced cautiously, scanning for movement and signs of life. Eldon watched their devices, noting every beep and signal. He knew that even a small mistake could give away their position. The dragon hissed softly, a warning that someone was approaching from the left flank. Eldon pivoted silently, using the shadows of the ice walls to remain unseen. Together, they moved like one, coordinated and precise. Suddenly, a hunter raised his weapon, aiming at the glowing scales of the dragon. Eldon reacted instinctively, pulling a flare from his pack and igniting it. The bright light reflected off the ice, blinding the hunters temporarily. The dragon leapt, wings spread wide, creating a wall of shadow that concealed them. Eldon ran alongside it, heart pounding, adrenaline surging. They emerged from the canyon into a wider stretch of plains, where the ice was thinner but the path to safety was clear. The hunters shouted in frustration, scanning the snow for the dragon, but Eldon and his companion were already moving too quickly, their combined skill making them nearly invisible. The dragon emitted a soft hum, guiding Eldon as it darted ahead, wings slicing the wind with precision. Eldon realized then how much they had grown together. The dragon was no longer just a rescued creature, it was an ally with instincts and intelligence that matched his own. Their trust allowed them to act as one, anticipating each other's movements, covering weaknesses, and exploiting opportunities. By late afternoon, they reached a safer area, distant from the hunters. Eldon collapsed onto the snow, exhausted but relieved. The dragon curled beside him, wings folded, head resting gently on his shoulder. "We did it," Eldon whispered. "We survived. Together." The dragon's hum vibrated softly, a clear acknowledgement of their bond. Eldon knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy held dangers far greater than a few hunters, and their journey would not be easy. But he also knew that with the dragon by his side, they could face almost anything. They had learned to trust, to move as one, and to use their combined abilities to overcome threats. As night fell, the stars reflected off the ice, glittering like distant fire. Eldon and the dragon rested, alert but confident. The plains were silent once more, but the experience had changed them both. Eldon's heart felt lighter, his spirit strengthened, knowing that companionship and trust could turn even the most dangerous situations into triumph. The hunters might return, but Eldon was ready. And the dragon, now fully awakened and aware, would face them alongside him. Together, they had survived the first true test of their bond, and the lessons they had learned would guide them through every challenge to come. For the first time in years, Eldon felt that excitement he had thought lost, the thrill of adventure, the joy of partnership, and the certainty that life could still surprise him in the most extraordinary ways. The morning sun spread golden light across the frozen plains. Eldon and the dragon had survived the hunters, and now the old ranger felt a sense of calm he hadn't known in years. The dragon stretched its wings, letting the warmth of the sun flow over its shimmering scales. Eldon watched, smiling faintly. Together, they had faced danger, learned trust, and discovered the strength of their bond. Eldon packed his supplies carefully, making sure the dragon had everything it needed. They were leaving the plains today, seeking a safer place to explore and live. The dragon nudged his shoulder gently, a soft hum vibrating from its chest. Eldon laughed quietly. "I know," he said. "We've been through a lot, but there's more ahead. You ready?" The dragon responded with a low, eager hum and a flap of its massive wings. As they moved across the ice, Eldon reflected on how much his life had changed. He had spent decades as a solitary ranger, surviving harsh environments but living without companionship. Now, with the alien dragon by his side, he felt something he hadn't in years: purpose. Every step forward was no longer just for survival, it was for adventure, for connection, and for protecting a creature that trusted him completely. They reached a narrow canyon that led to a valley untouched by hunters or other dangers. Eldon had scouted it earlier and knew it was perfect for rest and observation. The dragon explored cautiously at first, sniffing the air and testing the ground. Eldon followed, observing how naturally it adapted to its new environment. Its movements were precise, elegant, and full of life. In the valley, they found evidence of small alien wildlife, creatures adapted to the cold but still vulnerable. Eldon realized that together, he and the dragon could help these beings survive, teaching each other how to hunt, protect, and live in harmony. He smiled, understanding that his purpose was no longer just self-preservation. He could make a difference, not only for the dragon but for the world around them. The dragon, too, seemed aware of its role. It hunted with skill and care, not only providing food for itself but assisting Eldon when needed. They worked together seamlessly, communicating without words. A flick of the dragon's tail, a gesture from Eldon, and they moved as one. Each day, their bond deepened, strengthened by shared trust and experiences. One evening, Eldon set up a small campfire. The dragon curled beside him, wings folded, eyes glowing softly in the firelight. "We've come a long way," Eldon said quietly. "I thought my days of adventure were over, but with you, I feel alive again. You've given me purpose, and I hope I've given you safety and trust in return." The dragon responded with a gentle hum, nuzzling him in a way that showed understanding. They spent the following days exploring the valley and surrounding plains. Eldon noticed that the dragon had unique abilities. It could sense changes in the environment, predict storms, and detect hidden dangers. He marveled at how their combined skills made them stronger than either could be alone. The bond between human and alien was not just companionship, it was a partnership built on trust, respect, and shared survival. As they moved through the icy terrain, Eldon encountered signs of other travelers, some humans, some alien. He realized that the galaxy was full of life, and that together, he and the dragon could help those in need. Whether it was rescuing stranded creatures or guiding lost travelers, they had the ability to make a positive impact. Eldon felt a sense of excitement and responsibility. His life was no longer solitary or aimless, it was filled with meaning. One day, they found a frozen stream where the dragon drank and Eldon refilled his water supplies. The dragon's reflection shimmered in the ice, wings spread slightly, glowing with a soft light. Eldon looked at it and thought of the first day he had found a creature trapped in ice. The journey from rescue to awakening to trust had transformed them both. Eldon smiled, realizing that the dragon had not only survived but had become a part of his life in a way that would never fade. As night fell, the stars mirrored the ice below. Eldon and the dragon rested, safe for the first time in many weeks. He looked up at the vast sky, thinking of the adventures yet to come. "We've survived," he whispered, "but now we can thrive. Together." The dragon purred softly, wings tucked close, eyes glowing with understanding and readiness. From that day forward, Eldon's life was no longer just about survival or patrolling harsh terrains. It was about exploration, discovery, and protecting the galaxy alongside a companion unlike any other. The alien dragon had changed his life, and in turn, he had given the creature safety, trust, and a chance to live freely. They had found purpose together, a mission that went beyond the frozen plains. Eldon realized that life's true value was not in isolation or routine, but in connection and shared experiences. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but with the dragon by his side, he was ready to face whatever came next. Adventure, challenge, and friendship awaited them in every direction, and for the first time in years, Eldon felt truly alive. The old ranger and the alien dragon looked out over the horizon, wings and eyes aglow, ready to face a future filled with possibilities. They had survived, learned, and grown together. Now, their journey had purpose, a purpose that would take them across the stars, into new worlds, and into lives they could shape together. Eldon had rescued a dragon, but the dragon had rescued his life in return.